Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Total War Warhammer 2. We have finally broken the Midlanders, and I think at this point, this army is small enough and weak enough that it does not pose a threat to any of our settlements, so we can just kind of let him go. If he were to get over here, like, significantly inland and attack, like, Bel Aliad, someplace that doesn't have a wall, then maybe he could do some damage. But if he does that, I'm sure we'll be able to trap him. So I'm just going to disregard him at this point, and we're going to head down to deal with the growing dwarf problem. Over here, oh yeah, we have like an extremely obvious, easy kill on Mount Arachnos. I guess maybe this is not the best way to do this. We're going to go ahead and do it this way, but it's possible that the smart move here would have been to try to hide just outside Mount Arachnos and let this Orcish force get into the city, and then we could crush them. Because as it is, his play now is almost certainly going to be to just fall back to the Lost Plateau and make us fight him in there, right? What does the garrison look like? Trolls, boar boys, couple units of archers. Okay, so there's no siege weapons in there or anything. Yeah, alright, whatever. It'll be fine. I don't anticipate us having a lot of trouble fighting him. So, what do we want now? Opportunist is additional charge bonus. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure that we'll get a lot of benefit out of additional charge bonus. Even with him on a big dinosaur, he's still probably not going to be, like, rushing into people. So, maybe we don't really get a lot of value out of Opportunist. I guess let's take the Ancient Stegodon. Do I want to have access to... we'll take them both. We'll take this now. I will not have him actually change onto that mount, but I want to have access to that mount. Mounts may only be changed once per turn. Okay. Well, I guess we'll change him back next turn. But I want to have access to the full selection. And we may as well equip this. And then I suppose you should have a blade just in case. Just in case we end up doing a fight with the new mount. And Snout has finished all of his spell stuff, right? I guess he can grab... If we were going to put him on a Stegodon, it's hard to imagine it wouldn't be the Engine of the Gods one. I don't know. I don't actually know what this does. That's not a safe thing to assume. But let's grab some basic resistances first. He's going to end up with a bunch of extra skill points after we've gotten everything that is relevant to him. Okay, what do you want to do? I guess we could have him... He has block army. Oh, but he cannot block this army because... Oh, right. He's exhausted from the successful wounding of the enemy hero last turn. If he could throw a block army up right now, it would reduce this army's movement by 50%, and that actually might keep them out of the Lost Plateau, making it a couple of very, very easy battles instead of one merely easy battle. But I guess he doesn't really have a role here. So, what does he do to cities? He lets us steal technology. I'm debating whether I think it's a good idea for him to head south and hit Carrick Zorn, or whether we... I think I'm just going to have him go to the north. Tiktaq'to doesn't need him around anymore. And if we're thinking about, as our income continues to climb, starting to put together another army, I'd love for him to be a part of it, because he actually... he has access to a pretty good category of spells. Okay, apparently this is the only place that this river is crossable. So we've got some men of the Border Princes down here ready to fight some orcs. I don't know what's going to happen in the Southern Badlands. We do have to have control of this or be allied with the person who controls it eventually. I'm not sure how exactly we're going to pull that off. Okay, and we've finished determining the Great Plan. I think it's very difficult to imagine it being correct to research anything other than this. Like, how many gold mines and, like, stone quarries, or, gemstone quarries and stuff do we have? We have gold mine here. We're going to have gemstones over here. We have a gemstone mine there. We had gold somewhere else, I thought. Maybe not, but we will. Because we're gonna take over Carrick Zorn. Yeah, that's gonna be a lot of extra money. So we're still 11 turns off of the Rite of Tsunki, but we could hit the Rite of Ferocity and start putting together that next army. Is this the time? We have a lot of money. Do we have any particularly important upgrades to make? The Coast of Araby is as set for recruitment as it is going to be. The same is almost true for the Land of the Dead. Boy, we're 10 turns away from having that last point of population, huh? So it is better to recruit in the coast than it is in Xandri, I guess. They're very similar, actually. I think, you know what? We have the better dinosaur stuff available here. Yeah, with this huge amount of money that we have, and the fact that we're definitely going on a big conquering spree in the next couple of turns, let's start putting together a new army. And the first part of that is the Rite of Ferocity. I think we have the cash now for this to make sense. So let's get Ratok back out here. We could get another Slan Mage Priest, but I think I'd rather have Ratok with his couple of levels already with that Skink Priest of the Heavens. Alright, so let's start summoning some cool stuff. We have access to the really powerful dinosaurs. I definitely want to see those. Oh, you do have to have a Weapon Crafters commune in the same province to get things that require it. Well, that's fine. Temple Guard are really the only things that we'd be likely to get. I don't think I want to bother with traditional cavalry while we have our flying thing going on. And Croxagores are fine? I mean, I guess they hit pretty hard. My impression of Croxagores is that they're not nearly as good at keeping enemies in place and fighting as Sauruses are, largely due to their much smaller unit count. Let's get some fancy dinosaurs here. So what do we think? What exactly does an Engine of the Gods Stegodon do? It's a terrifying melee combatant. This very low missile damage, I'm assuming, is just like skinks throwing javelins from its back. It has 2 charges of Burning Alignment, a medium forward-moving area of effect. It does a lot of damage. Plus 5% damage resistance on all allies in range constantly. That's kind of cool. More Augments of the Winds for the Spellcaster. It causes terror, which is cool. I mean, I'm kind of curious about that. One thing I'm definitely curious about is... where is the Ancient Stegodon? Or the Ancient Salamander. I want to try one of these. So let's grab like an Ancient Salamander, and the Revivification Crystal gives it this aura that constantly heals people. It's an okay melee monster. Kind of low HP for a dinosaur, but it does cause terror. The Arc of Sotek is... it has this Vortex ability that poisons enemies and causes minor damage to enemies while not affecting friendly troops. That doesn't seem that good. Let's get a Revivification Crystal as well. And I guess an Engine of the Gods. We'll go for all the weird fancy stuff in this army. And then I guess we gotta just start recruiting our other stuff. So we can grab from the global pool a couple more Fire Leech Bola guys. Alright, so the locals are coming in at rank 4. Things from the global pool are only coming in rank 2 because the only bonus they're getting is the bonus from the right. And we have a ton of skink skirmishers in our blessed spawn pool, which is kind of whatever. Oh, we also have these red-crested skinks. I'll throw these guys in here, but at the end. I'm curious what the Mid-Inland Army will do, if they'll just go home, or if they will hover around trying to find an opening, or if they'll go after one of our unwalled settlements. In theory, they shouldn't know that we have unwalled settlements, because they've definitely never had units far enough south to see those. But I'm not sure exactly what the AI gets to know. It could be the case that the AI always knows the entire map. It's very common for very common in games, especially strategy games, for the AI to be given knowledge that they shouldn't have, because otherwise they can't make decisions at all. Just like really, really terrible and easy to manipulate. So once we've dealt with this dwarf problem, we can probably take all 3 of these armies and move up to orc fighting. One thing we could try to do is, especially if we can get the dwarves to get on side a little bit, if we take some of this stuff over, or if we burn some of this stuff down instead of taking it over and let the dwarves take control of it, that gives us a good little bit of insulation between us and the northern orcish forces, which means we don't have to protect the homeland at all, probably. Still no. Still absolutely not. Hard to tell if they're sailing home or if they think they can hurl themselves against Skaven Blight, but either one's fine with me. Yeah, I'm excited about getting to actually try out the new dinosaurs. I don't know what they do, obviously, and we're really late in the campaign for us to still be unlocking new units. Probably we should have seen all of our army roster by turn 100 and something. But once we have a feel for exactly how good these units are, we can start considering rebuilding our existing armies. I like the idea of a bigger, meaner salamander, but I have to say, I'm wondering if he'll turn out to be a lot less effective against cavalry because of the fact that he's shooting one big projectile instead of a lot of little exploding projectiles. What's up? You're declaring war on me. Okay. It is theoretically not impossible that they could actually send people over. I'd be surprised if it happened, but I think it's less weird for them to actually send people over to attack us than it was for Middenland to do it. And my guess is the Ancient Salamander is going to turn out to be a little bit better against single big units and like lords, and the groups of smaller salamanders will be better against real cavalry units. Okay, we need another one thing. Like, what do we want here? I think I'm going to grab a unit of normal salamanders as well. Is that wise, or should we just go straight into recruiting sources? Oh wow, we recruit sources at a really high rank. So hold on. The Ancient Salamander, his attacks are not actually anti-large. He does a very large amount of damage. His melee attack is a little bit better. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like if you're going to run salamanders, it might be a good idea to run one unit of the normal salamanders. Sorry, I already clicked that. And one unit of one ancient salamander to distribute the fire weakness. Maybe. Okay, Yarrick is just about ready to go. And we'll be back at full health with everybody who matters next turn, so we'll have at the dwarves then. They have not bothered to build walls around either of their smaller settlements, but Vulture Mountain is huge. That's going to be a little bit of a pain to take over. Oh well. You know, it is going to be nice to have an actual difficult battle every now and then. So can we make it? We can indeed make it all the way to Lost Plateau in a single turn. I see no reason not to. And we're definitely going to want to manually fight this one. Oh, he's decided he cannot, in fact, reach that in a single turn. It looks like he should be able to. Oh, okay. Weird. So, ranged units. They have one unit of Goblin Wolf Chariots. You'll notice there are only 8 actual bodies in this unit, so they're not going to be a huge danger to us. They're going to be harder to kill with rocks, though, because they're individually hardier. Then they got some normal... Yeah, this should be a pretty straightforward plan if we fight it the way we have fought pretty much all of our previous battles with this army. We'll have to see about the positions of the catapult. My guess is they're not going to leave the catapult alone. I would really love to have the Ripperdactyl riders run in there and do it just so that I can feel like they're contributing something meaningful. I think for most of our battles, we would have been better off with them being a another unit of Fire Leech Bola Pterodon Riders. When we fought that other Lizardman army that was all full of Pterodon Riders, I think they proved their value there. But pretty much all of the rest of the time, I would rather they had just had some rocks to drop. Okay. Place is, I was going to say, is remarkably well built up for an Orcish settlement, but right, it's a Dwarvish settlement that some Orcs are squatting in. Well, let's split them up the way we often do. And I mean, we may as well have him over here on this side as well. So, we do have to deal with the fact that they have a catapult. So we probably want to try to set our units up in such a way that we are not super easily catapultable, but I also don't want to have to eat a bunch of tower fire, so I think we're going to do this corner thing again. We're going to try to make it so that we are only fireable, or we are only in the actual firing range of that one tower, but not super tightly grouped up to minimize damage from the catapult if we can. Okay, so how did they set up? They just have a billion units. They can set up everywhere. Where is that catapult, actually? Oh, it's right. I was looking directly at it. I just missed it. It was kind of behind the thing. That's my excuse. So we definitely don't want to send the Ripperdactyls in. We're going to have to kill the Rock Lobber with just normal ranged unit fire. Oh, right. I forgot that our hero is on his Stegodon. Even if we had changed him before the battle, he would still have been on the Stegodon because the equipment changes don't take effect until the beginning of the next turn. Well, let's unselect you. It turns out you're useless this battle. I guess his play is just going to be to get over here in a place where the enemy towers and enemy archers cannot fire upon him. And he'll keep some of them distracted over on that side. And then you guys actually want to get closer, I think. If we get right up against the wall, the catapult will have trouble targeting us. We definitely want the dinosaur over here to jump in. I do wish they wouldn't pause the battle music while you're paused, because I like to give orders while paused, but that means there's a bunch of dead air. I don't know. Do we want to drop... Like, I want the salamanders to move forward so that we can shoot, but maybe the best thing to do would be to stay really far away and try to draw the catapult out to the wall. Just give it more time where it's not firing. And as long as we're only in the firing range of a single tower, we're not actually taking a lot of damage. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Now that they've already set up, I'm going to have us try to withdraw to this side of the map. It's weird how it's like, it's willing to bend the formation a bunch so that it doesn't look like the way I wanted them set up at all, but not in such a way that it's going to be legal for me to let go of right click here. Yeah, just get across. We'll figure it out. As ever, primary concern here is the control of the flying units. Yep, just get inside. And honestly, everybody except the characters can just be told to go straight at this, right? I don't need them to do anything else. We don't need to get fancy. We're probably not going to do any rock drops on the catapult. Just try to burn through the crew as quickly as possible. Okay, I'm not sure that I actually want it open yet, so we'll not start hitting the walls or the gates. Yep, classic goblin catapult crew, almost ready to give up immediately after battle starts. I remember to do this. Okay, permanently broken. That was really fast, actually. Faster even than I thought it was going to be. So, the new plan. I guess the new plan is to bring the flyers over here and start dealing with this situation. Let's see. They have a single unit of... Oh, not you. You two. Fly over here. They have a single unit of Orc Biggins on the wall. I'm wondering if it's going to be safe for us to have the Ripperdactyl Riders drop in on these guys from the back. I guess we can have them disengage if it turns out to be dangerous. But basically I want to get one of the walls clear so that we have a safe place to be during the battle. Hopefully they won't rampage. Alright, let's drop some bombs. Actually, can we, like... Let's drop some bombs over here, a little bit further away from the Ripperdactyls. Actually, sorry, back up a little bit. Let's just make sure that we're not in tower range. Yeah, the orcs and the, got a goblin big boss up there. Let's go harass him. The orcs and goblins are so much easier to kill that we don't actually even need the rocks to, like, immediately obliterate their, What is this? Oh, they opened the door and pulled our Carnosaur through it without me giving him any orders to go through it. That's a little inconvenient. Well, let's give him a little support. But yeah, we're not actually needing the rocks because orc and goblin units have such poor armor, and goblins in particular have such terrible health. Well, let's see if we can run our Sauruses through then? Nope, I can't target the other side of the gate. That's a very annoying thing that keeps happening. I think we're going to have control of this area pretty soon, so let's get the salamanders in position to fire over the wall. Alright, so we got crows out. I'm going to wild form the Carnosaur just in case. Going to cast some of our buffs here. You attack there, and I need a unit that has... Yeah, you. Unit that has some rocks. Let's knock these guys out quickly. We could just have everybody focus up and come over here, but I'd rather leave all of the Fire Leech Bolas firing into the grand melee. Okay, that'll have them broken pretty quickly. We're actually doing no damage at all to this Goblin Big Boss. His melee defense must be super high. Okay, what else do we need? I think more crows probably is a pretty good idea. But there really are, there's just tons and tons of enemies grouped up down here. Hey, you guys, fire in the general direction of those dudes. Yeah, alright, I think I'm gonna have Tiktaq'to and the Ripperdactyls disengage from the Goblin Big Boss. We're not harming him at all. Feels like a terrible waste of our time. Okay, Carnosaur is rampaging, as it is wont to do. Let's keep wild forming it for the extra armor. And, you know, he and the crows are doing some pretty good work together. I'm a little reluctant to drop rocks into this melee because I don't think we really need to. But we can do like some character rocks, some of the less effective groups. Where is... Yeah, you. You know what? I don't think we even need... He can drop a rock on these biggins over here, I guess. I hate this thing where the Carnosaur just, like, goes through the gate, and then the gate is closed behind it. I don't know that we really need to do this, because it does seem like the salamanders are kind of getting the job done. If we can save a little bit of salamander ammo, though, that's a valuable thing. So their big boss is now openly fleeing, despite the fact that he is not in any danger whatsoever. You know how goblins are. I think the next target's got to be up the hill, right? Like, look at how dense the enemies are up here. Let's just grab all of the flyers. Spellcaster 2, this looks like a prime place for some crows and fire. Carnosaur will get the door open. I think it would be easier to open from the inside. Gotta group up a little bit more tightly. Move this way. Move this way. There we go. That's what we wanted. Let us throw out a quick overcasted crow here. Who do we want to focus this on? Maybe on... I guess a lot of the units that are back here are cavalry. I'm a little concerned that if we throw it on cavalry, they'll separate quickly. Let's keep it on the little dudes. And whose rocks left? This right here. This is what we were saving the rocks for. The units far away from the walls that are not easily killable by salamander. Get over here. Alright, so their cavalry units are a little bit hardier, but we have them grouped up so tightly on top of each other, we're still getting pretty good damage. I'm surprised it's taken so long for the Carnosaur to open the gate. We're not going to worry too much about taking out their lord. Without the hero to just be firing constant damage at him, I think it's probably going to be pretty tough to do. We will instead just break each of their units individually, which seems like a very doable thing. How's this going? Okay, 70%. The Carnosaur is actually not on the gate anymore, though. That's why it's not open, because he's not fighting it anymore. Okay, can we... For some reason, these guys are not firing over the wall. It would be really cool if they would. Do we need to pull back some units to save the Carnosaur? Because obviously, like, it is not acceptable for this guy to come anywhere near death. Let's get over here and wild form him again. Just make him armor-proof, or make him damage-proof. Or maybe a better play is... the curse? Because lowering their melee attack by 26 will probably mean they just never hit him. This is way cheaper, though. Yeah, we preserve way more wins by doing it this way. Alright, let's get the caster, let's get the fire leech bolas over here and soften these guys up. You guys maybe get through? We might be able to have the salamanders just shoot fire at the door, but they have so little ammo, I'd really like to preserve it if I can. You know what, Tiktaq'to's not doing anything. He can come over here and throw down some buffs as well. And actually, he does have a rock left. I think the Carnosaur is going to end up having a very impressive kill count at the end of this battle. There we go. The gates are open. Let's get through here and help out a little bit, shall we? Would you guys perhaps... There you go. I was like, to receive an order. I think we can get the red-crested skinks to run in here too. I'm not too worried about orc boys doing any real damage to them. Okay. So they have left some stuff at the top of the hill. What happened over here? Oh, the same thing. Our dinosaur was allowed through the gate. Unfortunately for the orcs on this one, that goblin big boss is no match for this giant dinosaur. As soon as those guys are close enough to be affected by this, we'll fire it. You know what? Let's get the Ripperdactyls over here. They might be really useful. Okay, we've got a breakage. Let's try to get the salamanders inside so that they can do this thing. We'll just take the center of the city. I'm not at all worried about this. I think we should be able to do this quite easily. And everybody up here is just random infantry, so our cavalry should be pretty effective. All of the flyers who have ammunition left need to get over here and fire some of that ammunition. Oh, trolls. Trolls have regeneration, which often makes them kind of a pain, but regeneration also confers a weakness to fire damage. So we should be able to break those guys pretty quickly. Unfortunately, I don't think we have any rocks left. Sadly, he has lost his rocks. Ripperdactyl Riders should be able to take those guys down. Honestly, on Stegodon back, he's definitely a terrifying combatant. The only reason I don't want him on Stegodon back is because he can't snipe lords very easily that way. And I think Tiktaq'to can just dive right in here. I'm not afraid of these enemies. Oh, the Carnosaur is so aggressive. He just loves fighting, you know? You gotta give him that. I think we're gonna see him with a very impressive kill count here. He was tanking several groups of infantry the entire battle. He has only 129. Actually, not that impressive. I'm kind of surprised he ended up in the melee up at the top. We did not tell him to go up there, and I thought his rampage had ended, but maybe he had decided that he was chasing something up the hill before the rampage ended, and I just never gave him an order to stop doing it. I know I've said it a whole bunch this campaign, but just to underline it one more time, I really do think that pulling a Blessed Carnosaur as an early sacred spawning was a big deal for us. It helped us a lot. If we'd gotten Skink Skirmishers for the first two instead of for the last two, this would have been a totally different campaign. Also, I kind of wish that Skink Skirmishers weren't even on the table, given how weak they... Like, you get past wanting to have Skink Skirmishers in your army very quickly. Because Chameleon Skinks are just better in every way. We've almost got that second unit of reinforcement red-crested skinks up to the point where they'll be benefiting from Tiktaq'to's full line of buffs. I don't think there's any point in doing anything other than just taking over here. So that'll wipe out Arachnos. And I'm assuming that Carrick Zorn has at least one full stack. Ooh. Settlement Garrison is only 11 units, though, so they haven't actually built up their defensive structures. That's good for us. We are certainly going to need growth. And we are certainly not going to need this. So the Carnosaur... Okay, the Carnosaur is not going back to full health, unfortunately. Yeah. We don't really need to upgrade this because the Golden Tower doesn't have a tier 3, but I suppose this is a fine thing to do with our money. Alright, so we have you bringing in everything you can afford to bring in. As we get close to the end of the Rite of Ferocity, we'll want to make sure we have all of our units queued up so that they all benefit from the buff. So, what else can we upgrade with all this cash? Well, obviously that stuff. Is this settlement pretty much done? No, it is not. What do we actually want to do here? I mean, another 2% income from all battle loots is probably a good thing to have. We definitely want the Geomantic Spire leveled up, because we want a higher level of our commandments. Once we have the mountains, that'll actually be a little bit more relevant. Don't think we necessarily really need to upgrade anything here. I don't want to go down to no money left, right? We want to make sure we have enough money because we're going to finish all of our recruitments here. So we're going to pay a ton of gold for recruitment next turn. I guess let's just pass the turn, head it up toward 20k, and we'll see exactly how much is actually necessary for the new army. We gotta remember to leave one slot for the Skink Priest of Heavens. And we should probably take on that Regiment of Renown. Oh, wow. Lothern confederated into the Order of Loremasters. That's kind of crazy, considering that Lothern owned, like, almost the entire island up there, and the Order of Loremasters just had a tiny bit down here. I don't think it's crazy for those two forces to join up, but I do think it's super weird for it to go in that direction. Well, we had a trade agreement with Lothern, and the Order of Loremasters does not like us, so we probably will not be able to get our trade agreement back. So actually, it's really crappy for us that they confederated in that direction. That's just income that we're never going to get back. We haven't looked in on them too much lately. My suspicion is that they probably are not getting... We're probably not getting favor with them for fighting the Greenskins, because they don't know the Greenskins. I don't think they're coded to think of them as an enemy. We haven't fought anybody that they would care about at all, except maybe the Pirates of Sartosa, but that was long enough ago that they're not still going to be liking us for it. Yeah, we're just never going to get those elven trade routes back. That really sucks. Oh well, it's not like we don't have enough sources of income from other places, and of course we are going to get a huge boost from this tech once we finish it. This is a shame. That probably was over 1,000 gold per turn, would be my guess. I guess we're mostly past the part of the game where we need the trade routes. The trade routes are really valuable in the early and mid game, but we have a wide enough territory with a large enough number of industry buildings and mines and stuff that we probably can run our economy entirely on what we're making internally. The Word of Chaos is probably down to like a single lord somewhere. So we should see them fall pretty soon as well. Am I mistaken, or have the Servants to Chaos actually gained a little bit of strength? I wonder if one of their wounded armies got away and got to recruit new units. Okay, somebody has the Sword of Cain. I really could not care any less about that than I do currently. I guess we should, while we're flipping through the thing here, see if the dwarves are willing to be reasonable this turn.
No.
Well, he says no. Midland, any chance you guys want peace?
Never.
They seem to have very, very little military strength left. If they hadn't sent a whole stack to fight us for no reason, they might be in much better shape. Yeah, and we're massively negative with these guys, and we have no positive stuff with them at all. So we no longer have trade with any of the elven nations. That's a really crappy confederate.
I am ready to parley. I hope your words.
Come on, you know you want all of these various goods.
No, sir.
It's annoying more than anything. Alright, so what else do we need in this army? We do actually need some infantry. Temple Guard would be pretty cool, but I'm cool with Sauruses. Just somebody to hold the ground a little bit while the fighting occurs. Start with some of these guys. And that leaves us with, effectively, 6 remaining slots in the army. What do we want in those 6 slots? We could do with like 1 or 2 more units of flyers. I think we'll grab these guys. And then I'm gonna grab a normal unit of Saurus warriors from the global pool. We'll make our final local decision next turn. Okay, we are in position to execute this attack, and I think we ought to. Don't think there's a lot of sense in waiting. I'm just trying to think, like, is there anything we wanted to do before attacking? But no, I don't think so. I think we just go for it. Alright, you guys broke the pact, and now you suffer the penalty of having broken the pact. Honestly, with the auto-resolve bar this red, I'm pretty sure we'll suffer significant losses if we hit auto-resolve, so let's do it manually. We shouldn't have to, but let's do it. And this turn, we will get to see Krokagar actually in battle for the first time. And I think we completed Yarek's blue line, right? So now it's just going to be spells for the next several levels. So he's actually going to get to be a good caster. Their settlement is not walled, so they just will be fighting in the open. They do have a catapult. A good dwarven catapult, so a lot more accurate than a goblin catapult. And they do have real archers as well. So this is not totally ideal. Let's do that thing where we go all the way out around the sides. We do have our own artillery unit in the Blessed Stegodon. How's the terrain? If we stand over here, it's pretty flat. There's some weird depressions and stuff over there that they could hide in. Alright, and with these guys, we do want to try to spread our units out pretty thinly. In fact, we maybe don't even want them all right on top of each other like that. Try to limit the amount of damage we're actually going to take from that catapult. You guys are probably not going to get anything accomplished except getting murdered by tons of archers, so there's no sense in having you start up near the enemy. Okay. They have a bunch of heroes who I am not particularly concerned about. They have, what, 4 units of archers? Oh, I thought it was 4. Oh, you know what? We're only seeing the Quarrelers. The Rangers have stealth. So we won't actually be able to see them until we get quite a bit closer. I'm going to just command group these 2 groups of flyers. Alright, and the Blessed Stegodon does already have range. Who would be the best target? I think I'm going to try to just fire into the Quarrelers to scatter them, maybe? And we might want to advance. I don't think this is one of these battles where we want to stay way back. Because again, the catapult gives them a pretty significant advantage at range. The Blessed Stegodon can stay back, I guess. So once our flyers get closer, the positions of the Rangers will become available to us. Quarrelers are sort of just milling around awkwardly in the middle of the formation. Okay, here we go. I think maybe we want to start by firing at these guys. So they're not super well armored. Oh, I forgot that the salamanders are much, much faster than all of our melee troops. You guys, I have overcommitted you, and I apologize. Fall back a little bit. These salamanders on this side are not actually in any danger. We could probably try to move them up into a position where they're going to have a shot to take. And we're also probably close enough to start thinking about spellcasting, right? So, Wind Blast is weak against armor, and almost all dwarf units are heavily armored. We're also not in range for it yet. What about Soul Quench? Powerful explosion, strong versus multiple combatants, effective at long range. Let's try Soul Quenching this unit of ranged dudes who is right in the middle of all of the enemies. See how effective that actually is. I think it completely missed. So the answer would be not effective. Let's have a bunch of these guys go after you. I guess everybody. Just get the Rangers and we can drop some rocks on this group of quarrelers here. Alright, probably we need the salamanders to focus on the ranged units where possible. These are mostly just normal dwarf fighters, but they do have a unit of slayers over here, which we have to watch out for. Low armor, but extremely high damage, and unusually fast for dwarves. Honestly, the Blessed Skink Skirmishers should be pretty good against the slayers as long as we keep them moving away. I think we could probably kill these guys mostly with ranged damage. And our 2 units of Blessed Saurus Warriors should just get up there and fight directly. Okay, so we're breaking them down. We have to drop something on this catapult crew. My big concern with the catapult crew is that they're not going to break when we start attacking them. But I really don't want to start stuff with them prior to dealing with the range. I guess let's drop some rocks. We can maybe destroy 1 or 2 pieces of siege equipment. Then we do a couple of rock drops on them. I want to make sure that we're getting through all these rangers. Also, spellcaster. Right, I issued that spellcast, and so he stopped moving forward entirely. That's got to get fixed. We got to keep an eye on this while continuing to micro rock drops. It's a lot. It's a lot to take care of with this army sometimes. A lot to keep your eye on. Okay, we're close enough for our ranged to have started actually doing the thing now. There we go. That's a pretty good dense formation. Okay, and they're shooting a lot of their quarrelers at our Sauruses, which is great because the Sauruses are probably pretty close to immune to damage from those quarrelers. We should probably have you guys go after the miners. So miners are not very good units, but they do have some value against heavy armor because I think their attacks are pretty armor piercing. How's the catapult crew? Well, all the catapults are still functional, so that's bad. Let's try to fix that. Who's over here who has rocks? You. Get over here and let's see if we can't maybe actually kill some of these guys off. They're also keeping a lot of their heroes back here, which I think is pretty good for us. Rather than having them actually participate in the battle. Okay, so we have more units of red-crested skinks who are going to be actually pretty good at fighting dwarves. Let's have you guys run over here and hit them in the side. You guys just kind of get up in the middle. We're going to try to move the salamanders around to the side so we can belch fire into the enemy's backs. And I'm going to throw a quick Foz protection on these Saurus warriors because they could really use it, it looks like. Okay, those Bugman's Rangers are fleeing, and that's good enough for right now. I think these Slayers are going to do some pretty good damage to those skinks, but they should be damaged enough that we are ahead on that. Let's try to get some fire into like this group would be cool. You guys got to turn around. Obviously the catapult crew is broken. They're getting pretty low on ranged units. Who among us still has rocks? Okay, salamanders are pretty much doing what they're supposed to do. These guys are just ignoring. It seems like the orders that you deliver with the shift queuing system sometimes just get ignored now. They do the first thing and then sit around and do nothing afterward. Their lord has elected not to participate in the battle, which is pretty good for us. So yeah, like they have 4 heroes and a lord, none of whom are fighting at all. That's a significant amount of the weight of their army that's just not playing the game, and that is really, really good for us. Alright, let's have you guys commit. Let's have the big dinosaurs start committing to battle. Sure, we're keeping our salamanders targeting sensible. What I'd really like to do is have the salamanders get over here and shoot into the flanks of these guys more clearly, but I don't think we can actually do that. Runesmiths are basically wizards. They're sort of wizards. Dwarves have a weird, like, runic magic system, but they're, as you might imagine from a dwarf, a lot tougher than most wizards are. Actually, you guys could probably just start firing into the backsides of these groups over here, and we need to find the next person with some rocks. This right here is a really, really good situation for a rock drop. Okay, salamanders are doing their thing. I really think salamanders are great units. I don't know how Lizardman forces worked before this latest DLC, because that is where the salamanders got added, but they are definitely going to be the core of every Lizardman army I ever play. Alright, a little bit more false protection seems like a good idea. Maybe we could disrupt the formation with some wind blasting. And I think we're mostly winning now. Where is... That's the Thunderous one. This guy, I think we could probably have him run up and join the melee at this point. See if we can get the Skinks to withdraw. Because I think the Slayers will be unable to chase them with all the poison. Okay, who has rocks left? Still have some kind of dense groups of enemies left. Although there's definitely a danger of wounding even further this already very wounded group of Saurus warriors. Check out this guy. Look at this little hero. He's like a dog chasing a car. I don't know what he's going to do with it if he catches it, but you have to admire the resolve. Okay, you guys definitely want to disengage. The good thing about these dwarf heroes, the good thing for us about these dwarf heroes, is that they have terrible movement speed. We do not have to be concerned about them at all. Do I want to just start shooting at the runesmiths? Part of the problem here is that we are going to have to kill all these heroes. Unlike a lot of the armies we've faced, I do not expect that we are going to see a lot of surrendering going on here. It's just not really how dwarves get down. How about you have at there, Lord? I know he's not exactly a melee combatant, but I feel somewhat confident that he can handle this. Okay, he did in fact splatter that one guy there. We're going to lose a unit of Blessed Saurus warriors. That's fine. It is what it is. These red-crested skinks, I think, are fine where they are. We don't actually need them to participate. Let's finish these guys off really quickly. We have some units who can afford to turn around and... Oh, not you. Who has a lot of health? There you go. A lot of health, but not a lot of rocks left. Get over here. Where would we even do a rock drop at this point? There are very few groups of enemies remaining. I guess maybe the rock drop is just on these guys, right? Try to wrap this up. So our dinosaurs should do pretty well against the dwarves, I think. Most dwarf lords are not particularly good anti-large. Alright, I hope we're going to see some breakage happen pretty quickly there. Seriously, skinks, back out. Oh, maybe I was overestimating them a little bit. They are, in fact, willing to concede. Yeah, pound for pound, I think dwarves are some of the best fighters in the game. Like, an army that size of almost any other faction would have done far, far less damage to us. So hopefully, Greybeard's Prospectors and Carrick Zorn will be the last time that we actually have to fight Dwarven forces. We don't even have to fight these guys. The last time that I think it is profitable for us to fight Dwarven forces. And I'm definitely worried about the big battle that's going to happen at, I don't even remember what the name of it is, the capital of the Greybeard's Prospectors lands. We're definitely bringing 2 full stacks of fighters to that. Although who knows what kind of shape they'll be in. We don't quite have the replenishment rate of Tiktaq'to's army. Yeah, the sack value of this stuff is pretty low. Let's just take it over. I think we all have fan waivers already. We should check and make sure that Krukgar does. Krukgar does not, in fact, have a fan waiver. Let's throw that in his army. We definitely want that. Oh, and while I'm thinking about it, because I totally would have forgotten to do this. Yeah, back to the Pterodon. Kind of wish it wouldn't automatically switch to the new mount if you already have a mount. Okay, yeah, so we have all of our blue line stuff that we wanted. We don't actually have Lightning Strike. We should probably... Should we take that? No, I don't think we're going to end up getting to use it. This army's just going to stay in Vulture Mountain. So let's grab Magic. Okay, let's grab the first upgrade to Foz Protection. Okay, Focus of Mysteries, giving us access to 2 charges of Banishment, seems pretty powerful, but I think we want to dig into our actual spells first. So yeah, they're going to replenish a very, very small amount. Let's rebuild the mines. We might actually have to take it kind of slow on attacking Vulture Mountain. Okay, so who wants to cause terror? This is probably best on just one of our units of Saurus Warriors, and then also some plus leadership, I guess, goes on somebody. Do we want the Totem of Prophecy on spears or maces? I guess maces for now makes sense. We're not fighting a lot of large enemies here. So these guys have 2 Quarrelers, a unit of Bugman's Rangers, and a unit of normal Rangers, which are a little bit less good than Bugman's Rangers. This battle is going to be pretty similar, except that here we have Lord Croak and Krukgar, both of whom theoretically are pretty powerful in a situation like this, where there's a lot of infantry for them to lay their stuff down on. So they do have some Slayers. We'll have to avoid those with Krukgar because he is mounted, so he is a large unit. But I think he's going to be able to just kind of run roughshod through a lot of these Dwarven forces. We'll try to save the explosions for when the battle lines actually meet. We don't have nearly as many flyers this time. I'm wondering if maybe we want to be a little bit less aggressive with them. We don't have any catapults, so we don't have to be very careful with our positioning. Probably best to keep the chameleon skinks away from the enemy until after we deal with most of the ranged. Okay. What does their formation actually look like? It's probably, yes, roughly the same as the last one. Well, let's march forward. And we are going to be careful about the salamanders. They're extremely quick movement this time. Definitely need to fire that as quickly as possible. So do we want to charge them, or do we want to save the flyers until we get closer to range? I guess we'll try waiting for them to engage on the sources a little bit, and then having the flyers come in on them after that. Not 100% clear on what they're doing here. they just trying to move toward the pterodons? Change up our movement orders a little bit. Krakagar, we definitely don't want to get involved until it's until the battle lines are properly joined. You can shoot at the close quarrelers instead. He's still gonna have to get up the hill. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. It looks kind of like they're just trying to leave, which, by the way, is not a thing that they can do. They cannot just walk off the map. You can afford to be a little bit aggressive with the salamander positioning due to the fact that the salamanders are much faster than anything that the dwarves are able to bring against us. Do you really still not have a shot? Oh, I guess there's a tiny hill between you and your target. Okay, here we go, here we go. Wow, that almost hit. That was close to being something. Huh. I guess they thought they wanted to set up on a place where their quarrelers would have a tiny bit of elevation? Can't imagine what else they were doing here. Let's run Krukgar around the back. They're not going to be able to like catch him or harass him in any meaningful way, so we may as well. And if they're just going to hold up in position here, I think we can run forward and cause some pretty mean explosions. Okay, the Bastillodon is starting to make hits happen. All right, you guys, you don't need to run into melee. And they can very clearly see those quarrelers from here. They could just shoot. Okay, I think it's time to start actually doing stuff. So, first of all, Croak, are you close? You're kind of close. This seems like a great time for a nice big deliverance of It's a level 3 right about here, I think. We're definitely going to want to make sure that we are using his shield effectively as well. I don't know why these sources are so far away from everybody else. Okay, you two need to get back here, and they've left a unit of rangers just out in the open. Let's see if Krukgar can handle that. I guess I could pretty easily do this way. Yeah, we'll start by trying to knock out the ranged. Try to save rocks for melee on this one. That cast actually goes off. We'll throw up our shield. Hey, that's a pretty good explosion. Our Lord is under attack a little bit. Presumably he's in here just actually absolutely murdering dudes, though. Actually seems to mostly be looking around. There you go. He remembered how to attack. Okay, how are we doing? Do we want to throw a rock drop? I kind of want all of our rock drops to go into the melee. And we have to be careful with our units that actually command them manually all the time, because it seems like something broke the shift queuing system. It's a little bit annoying, because I actually really like using the shift queuing system. Where is the Bastillodon? Okay, the group of ranged units he was shooting at is pretty much dead. Let's have him refocus. We'll drop one group of rocks. Actually, no, never mind. We don't need to. It's going splendidly. So the difficulty with using Sauruses to flank is how extremely slow they are. This looks just wonderful right here. Krukgar is... I mean, he's not taking any damage. He's also not really doing any damage. Alright, I think those guys should be broken. Have you guys just sort of firing into the melee. The Slayers in particular need to be getting hit here. Actually, we could probably use some explosions on this side now. Soften these dwarves up. Okay. It's about to be rocks time. Try to get them to spread out as they get closer to the target. Okay, next unit. Should be able to get some pretty effective drops here, because these dwarves have not made any attempt to, like, take up actual formations. They're all just standing right on top of each other. Oh, okay, hold on. Hold on a second, you guys. Why don't you form up, like, over here? So all of their ranged units are pretty much done for. We just need to continue dropping rocks. I think we need some over here. And is Croak... Oh, Croak is getting meleeed. Their Thane has run through the battle lines. Well, I probably ought to do something about that. I know he's undead and everything. But I probably shouldn't just let a dwarf wail on him. You know what? Kruk-Gar would actually be a really good solution to this problem if we can get him out here. Okay. Are you guys actually committed on those dwarves? It kind of looks like you're not all the way in there. Maybe, like, get in there? Alright, we get one more decent explosion. But we have to be a little bit more careful about its positioning because we have troops in more of the battle now. Where's that unit? Hold on a second. I had a unit of guys with rocks fly over here. Ah, those guys. Yep, I think they're in the right positions to just drop things. Okay, we got to keep a constant eye on Croak now because we want him to be hitting his thing on cooldown. Just go straight for him. I think that actually Lord Croak looks like he's winning this battle, which I'm a little surprised by considering that his damage is probably magical, and dwarves have some natural magic resist. But I think it's working. Okay, so do we really need a rock over here? A rock right here might allow us to just kind of close things up. What the heck? I let go of right click and it just selected the unit I was near instead of issuing the move order. There we go. If we could formally break some of these dwarf units over here, then we can reallocate some of these Sauruses into flanking positions. That would be awfully nice. Okay, we're starting to see the breakage. You guys are just getting your asses handed to you. Who still needs shooting? Okay. All the dwarf units that are going to retreat are retreating. The Slayers over here are immune to leadership losses. So they actually do have to be killed all the way out of the battle. Okay, it was not a great battle for Kruk-Gar. I will say I was unimpressed with his damage against those archers. It took him a long time to start actually killing them. I'm very eager to get him on Carnosaur back and see that. I'm sure that'll be much more effective. Unfortunately, he has to gain quite a lot of levels. He came into our service very weak. Pretty pleased with the performance of the Bastillodon here, though. And Croak managed to get 157 kills against enemies, I believe all of whom have at least 30% magic resist, because dwarves. So basically, everybody did some good lifting there. 52 kills on one of the units of Chameleon Skates, which is a big surprise against such heavily armored enemies. Alright, let's take control of the Eye of the Panther. We got a Curse Charm of Tepok. Huh. I'm not going to bother equipping that. Alright. So Kruk-Gar had his skill points spread out in kind of an awkward way. What do we want to take with him? We could just go. We could just like yellow line and focus him up as a really effective melee lord, a really effective personal combat guy, and obviously, oh, interesting, an an attack that just causes him to explode against his enemies. Yeah, I think if there was anybody in our command that we were going to do that with, it would be him, and that'll make him a really good Lord Hunter as well, which is something his army could use. We don't need people to be as good against groups, because his army has Lord Croak. So yeah, let's do that. Let's buff up his melee attack at 64. Yeah, it could be a little bit higher. He'll be a good Lord Hunter. Also, we just picked up a new follower that I would really like to apply. Oh, interesting. He cannot equip the Acolyte. Let's see about maybe Lord Croak? Yes, okay. Also, may as well grab an Artifact Hunter and a Great Plan Archivist. And we really don't need Public Order in the local province, but it also doesn't help us to leave his slots empty. And he has his sea legs. Cool. Alright, well, the dwarves are suddenly down to a single province, and the only direction this army can move leads directly out to a bunch of stuff that's walled up. Oh, I guess there's a pass right there. They could run for Huxodl. Of course, if they do that, we take Vulture Mountain pretty easily without them there to defend it. So I guess I'm not too worried. Alright, one of these days we're actually going to get far enough north to see what's up there. Okay, and we have a ton of money. We still have one more expensive hiring decision to make, but I think we're going to be okay on cash. Leveling this up doesn't really seem worth the 9,000 gold. Like, this gives us the same amount of post-battle gold, and is considerably cheaper. Don't know that we necessarily need to make a lot of other upgrades, I guess. Income up for all the regions in that province is pretty good. And then maybe we'll actually leave it there, because like I said, we have one more expensive hiring decision. So let's run one more cycle of enemy turns here, and then we'll probably end the video there for the day. I'm hoping that we'll be able to end the Vulture Mountain problem in a turn or two. We definitely can't attack them on our next turn. We had to wait for Yarrick's army to catch up, which means that Yarrick's army unfortunately cannot just sit and heal in the settlement. But like maybe we can move Krukgar forward a little bit, let Yarrick get a turn of healing in the Eye of the Panther, and then attack Vulture Mountain on the turn after that. We'll see if we can maybe get Krukgar to set up an ambush in front of the Eye of the Panther. See if the dwarves want to try their luck against Yarrick's damaged army. If they do just run out and they go after our unwalled settlements over here, we can meet the Dwarven army in the field with Krukgar and probably be okay. I mean, I guess Krukgar's army is pretty shredded, though. I don't know. Well, I'm confident we will figure it out. I do not think this is going to be a big deal. Oh, Trace was destroyed, so I think actually it might be the case that all of Lothern is under the control of one faction now. There's a different colored region up here. Oh, Nagaroth is still alive. I'm kind of surprised by that. I feel like they've been a tiny, weak nation for a very, very long time, and they're right next to all the Dark Elves. Nordland, we are currently at war with them. They demand I pay them 270 gold to end the conflict. You know what? Sure. I will pay you a tiny, tiny amount of money to ensure that you're not going to send an army after us. I suppose Midland did accomplish something. Because if we had not gotten attacked by that Midland army, I definitely would have refused to pay them. Unfortunately, all this stuff that we're doing over here is not going to help our diplomatic status with any of the people we care about at all. But once we're done with this, we can... Wow, actually the Border Princes have managed to take over a huge amount of this territory. The Top Knots might get wiped out before we even get back over here. So they still own this one little area. And unfortunately that means the Southern Badlands is going to be split between the Border Princes and the Dwarves in a way that's going to make it really a pain in the ass to get a hold of. Well, we could end up at war with the Border Princes. That would probably be fine. Let's take the half of it that they take away from them, and then still try to ally with the dwarves. The winds of pain. The world yields to those who master the winds of magic. Great bolts from the heavens scour souls from bodies, while raging torrents of fire rend the very flesh from bone. Magic can rip enemies into a dozen pieces, or leave nothing but an ugly bloodstain where they once stood. The power granted by the cataclysm many eons ago can be harnessed now to bring ruin and destruction upon our enemies. All those who feel the pull of magic feel it grow as the world festers under chaos's ruinous gaze. Their need to ravage grows stronger and stronger by the hour, so just winds of magic up for everybody. Probably that benefits us more than almost anybody else, because we actually have, like, good developed casters in every army. So Lord Croak... I don't know that he needs any of this stuff. I don't care about Exorcism. Rolling Skies is not particularly relevant, so I guess let's start grabbing his other... Oh, no, actually. Let's start grabbing his Replenished Troops buffs. The Dwarves of Vulture Mountain did not flee. Oh, you know what? Hold on. We're not actually going to play this turn. I'm getting all distracted. But, as is customary, one more time before we end the video, let's just talk to everybody. See if people are willing to... We're at 123 with these dwarves now. What is it going to take? Obviously, they're more likely to give you the military access treaty if they want access to your lands, but it definitely is not required. I've had them go off before. Okay, let's try offering them a little bit of money. Oh man, that'd be really good for us. Payments. I have a huge amount of cash. How would you like 3,000 gold? Still moderate. Still no. Wow, man. They just hate... They hate trade. They hate mutual money making. And final thing, Bretonia is the strongest faction in the world. We're right behind. The Order of Lore Masters are doing very well for themselves now that they control all of the elven settlements. And the Greenskins are doing pretty well as right behind them, even though they have almost no land. Okay. Well, we haven't made a lot of progress on our checklist over the last couple of episodes, but, you know, we still have some things to clean up before we head north. That is going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Come back next time when, hopefully, we can put away these last two dwarf holds, and then finally get to refocus on our actual goals. And we'll see you then.